Welcome to the Focal Insights Podcast Founder Hour edition, hosted by co-founder Joe Pawlak. Joe has been in the e-commerce industry for over 25 years. He grew and bootstrapped his own startup to a successful exit. Founder Hour episodes go behind the scenes to learn how some of the best e-commerce brands were founded, grown, and operated straight from the founders themselves. Founder Hour is brought to you by Focal Software, a new generation ERP and operation suite for e-commerce brands and third-party marketplace sellers. Focal was built with SMB brands and marketplace sellers in mind to help them grow profitably. Now let's welcome our host, Joe Pawlak.
Hello and welcome to the Focal E-commerce Insights Podcast, where we chat with e-commerce entrepreneurs about business, selling online, and how to overcome challenges for success. Today we have a very exciting guest, but before we get started, for listeners not familiar with the podcast or Focal Software is an e-commerce operations software and marketplace account management company. So if you need help growing your business profitably, be sure to stay tuned to future podcasts or feel free to reach out. Joining us today is Mike Silva, who is the owner and creator of QB54, a company that manufactures and sells the backyard, tailgate, and beach football game called QB54. Mike started his business in 2016, has a Bachelor's of Science degree from Rutgers University. He appeared on the TV show Shark Tank, is distributing his product to 200 Dick's Sporting Goods stores, has sold over 50,000 units, selling on major marketplaces as well as retail. And Mike currently lives and works in South Brunswick, New Jersey. Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Yo, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here and very grateful for the opportunity.
All right. Well, we always start this podcast talking about why you wanted to be an entrepreneur, why you wanted to have your own business. For some people, it was a burning desire. For some people, it was a total accident. And they end up just, and now all of a sudden I got my own business. So go ahead and let's start with that.
Sure.
How'd you get into it?
So I guess, what am I, Generation X? I don't know. I grew up in the 80s, right? So our video game library was pretty weak and computer games were even weaker. But there was this one computer game called Lemonade Stand on the Commodore 64. I don't know how I got this game, but I started playing it. And the fact of starting, the object of the game is to start off with a small lemonade stand and grow it into a lemonade tycoon empire business. And I got addicted to this game. It was about location, how to buy a product, how to sell it, where to sell it, how to advertise. And I think at age, 12, when I was playing this game, I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug. And nobody in my family ever ran a business. None of my friends ever ran a business. I was always told, get a 9-to-5 job, work hard, work up the ladder, and, buy a house and get married and do the whole nine. So I took that path. I have a 9-to-5 job, and it wasn't 100% satisfying to me. I've always had this burning desire to start my own business and to sell things and eventually make money. And that honestly was the true impetus for me to start my own business, for lack of a better term.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know what gen you are, but most people don't know what a Commodore 64 is. I actually do. Most people refer to the Atari, right?
Yes. 2600.
And they were bad. The games were not great back then, but I never heard of the lemonade stand. So that's
cool. Check it out.
Okay. So you decided to start your own business. Did you have any kind of business background from your education, or were you just saying, I'm gonna wing it? I know I want to do this, and you had the Commodore background training, so had some thoughts about it and ready to go.
Right. It was, I have absolute zero business classes, expertise, whatever you want to call it. I learned everything out there in the wild, on the streets, whatever you want to call it. I've made mistakes. I've had success. I tried to learn from those mistakes. But no, zero. I don't have an MBA. I didn't take one business class. Maybe I had one economics class in high school, but that's it. And it's just what I've learned at the beginning was if you believe in yourself, your product, and your effort, your ability to hustle and grind, and the ability to talk to people, I believe that those are the tools that you need in order to be successful. Again, it has to start with a good product, somebody, a product that's marketable and the market wants. And then once you define that, I think you go into your other, strengths that you have, the tools in your toolbox, and utilize them to the best of your ability. And then, my business education, or my MBA, basically came from selling at tailgates across the country, learning the product, fish where the fish are, and to pound that pavement. And that's how I learned. And, I know you mentioned Shark Tank at the beginning of the show. I've been watching that show for 16 years, since season 1. And I've learned a tremendous amount from that show, things that I never would have learned anywhere else, and got me a few steps ahead of the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned tailgates. A lot of people that start companies, a great way to meet people, get in front of people with your product is trade shows. But in a sense, your trade shows were tailgating, which sounds a lot more fun than the hundreds that I've been to.
Yeah, listen, I live in central New Jersey, right? I call it central New. I'm an hour from MetLife Stadium, where the Giants play, and I'm an hour from Lincoln Financial Field, where the Eagles play. This is a major market for NFL. I mean, you have two large cities, New York and a Philadelphia market, who are diehard fans for their teams. And again, watching the show, they say, fish where the fish are. Well, my fish are people that are going to football games, that love football, and this game is perfect. So, I mean, I've never done this before. I had to come up with the nerve to walk up to people and basically say, hey, do you want to play a new football game? I think it's fun. Would you like to try? And time after time, person after person, they would play it. And what I say is, people see the game, they love it. Sorry, they see it, they play it, they love it, and then they buy it. And I noticed early on that I should be taking video of this whole process. And I've done that for the last 8 years. I had my iPhone in hand, and I was just documenting everything, not knowing how valuable this content that I was taking was. Because if I want to be able to scale this business and be able to sell it online on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any of these platforms, I need to be able to translate the fun and the emotion of this game. And there's no better way to do that than actually videoing people in the moment, having fun, and just bonding with their friends and family over this game. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And if you think about that trade show analogy, you didn't have much travel expense because you were close. And many trade shows for people in small business getting started, they can't afford the big ones, so they go to these things that might have 500 people. You're going
Right.
to something that has, I don't know, those stadiums, 85,000?
Oh yeah. And here's the kicker. I'm pitching to the decision maker every single time. I don't have to, I don't have to go to a boss, the head of purchasing or whatever. I'm going to the mom, I'm going to the dad, I'm going to the person that has cash and wants to buy it. They buy it. And here's the crazy thing. I mean, think about it. I have a product, it sells anywhere from 160 to 180 online. And at these events, I'll sell it cheaper, as a demo, and a special, like game day special, for $100. I'm going to a parking lot and I'm selling people a product that's $100 that did not have that intention of spending $100 in the parking lot. And I'm able to close these sales, I would say, a good 40 to 50% of the time. Not everybody buys, but I get the brand out there and people remember. And then when it comes to Christmas time, they buy it later on. But converting sales and approaching people, it gets easier as the years go on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And they go to these games with a lot of cash in their pocket because they're kind of on a 1 day vacation. So did you show up then with a trunk full or a van full of these things? They take a little space, right?
Yeah, I have minivans because I have two kids, and when you have a when you have a family, it's easier to have a minivan than anything else. At least that's what I'm telling myself. But I use that minivan to my advantage because put the seats down, I'm able to fit, I don't know, 30, 40 games in the back. I get a parking pass for the day. I don't go in the game. I don't pay for a ticket for the game because that cuts into profit. So I just get a parking pass. I park. I open up the game and I just walk up and down the parking lots. And when people see me carrying these chairs with field goal posts on the back, something that you've never seen before, I make eye contact and then boom, I got them. At least I'm going to have a conversation with them. And I say, hey, let's have some fun. No pressure to buy anything. I just want them to get some content. I want you to play the game. And if you like it and you want to buy it, I got some in the trunk. And that's how I pitch.
So you brought 40 or so. Did you just sell out sometimes?
Oh yeah, sometimes it did. And here's the cool part. So I just wasn't limited to MetLife and where the Giants and the Eagles play. I would travel all over the country. We went as far as Cleveland, Ohio State. We go to the Buffalo Bills to go to the Bills tailgate. Been down to West Virginia. We've been as far south as University of Georgia. I mean, and the cool thing is, I have two kids. Like I said, they're now 19 and 17. But when they were younger, I don't know, 10 and 8, I would bring one of them with me and we would go on a road trip, just the two of us. And they would pick out the place to eat because they love watching the Food Network and they love the show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And we would go to Cleveland and my son Aiden was like, all right, we got to eat here and here. This was on the show and it looks awesome. So we had that bonding experience. And it was just, I wouldn't trade that for the world for anything because I mean, to be, some people might like this, they might not, but to be in your car for 8 hours with your kid, just the two of you, talking about anything, I mean, it was just priceless. And to teach the kids how to fish rather than giving them the fish, how to sell, how to run a business. I'm just hoping that this something stuck on the wall for them through these experiences. And for me, and a lot of entrepreneurs say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey getting there. And I got to tell you, the journey has been absolutely amazing. If I had to file bankruptcy tomorrow, which I'm not, if I had to file bankruptcy tomorrow, I would not say at all that this was not worth it. This has been so life fulfilling for me to be able to do this and to have the support of my family.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And you've also got, so you've got a lot of NFL all over the place. You've got
Yes.
college.
Yep.
Like your ideal customer doesn't change from NFL to college. It has nothing to do with it, including maybe even, I don't know enough about high school football if they tailgate there, but
In
that's
Texas,
probably,
they do. In Texas, they got $60 million stadiums for high school. It's crazy.
yeah. So you've got a lot of quote unquote trade shows that
And,
you can pick and choose
and
from.
here's the other thing. It's not just for football fans. I mean, if you're into games, you're into outdoors, you're into competition, um, it's for everybody. And we introduce a non-intimidating style of football. So when you think football, you think violent tackles, concussions, injuries, and it's a pretty intimidating sport. With our game, has absolutely none of those elements in the game. It could be as laid back or as intense as you want it, but there's no risk of injury or anything like that when you're playing our game.
And you don't have to run a 4-second 40.
You don't, but in our pro rules, where there is an element of running the return, an interception back, that could be helpful for you. But if you just want to play the rookie rules, nah, you can lay back with a beer or sit back with a beer and enjoy your time.
Yeah, and avoid injuries that way. Okay,
Yes.
so you're in business, then you're up and running. You've got sales, you've got revenue. Um, let's talk a little bit about the business side of it. So was
Sure.
there anything that you weren't expecting, or I guess there always is, right? Things that you don't expect, but what are some of those things that you learn maybe about starting a business and also maybe a little bit about yourself as well in the process?
Well, I've always heard that if you're going to start a business, you have to hustle, you have to grind, you have to have, the fortitude to stick with a plan and just go forward with it. And I'm in the 9th year now of doing this. And to me, it does not feel like work. As corny as it may sound, if if there's somebody at a 9 to 5, you're clocking in, you're clocking out, and you're looking at the clock or the time. I've never felt that way with my business. It's like a labor of love. And um, I guess the things that I didn't really expect was this cycle of capital, investing in inventory, having no money, having all inventory, then having all this cash, and then having to buy. It's the circle of capital that is necessary to run the business. And I there's a lot of expenses that are involved, not just your cost of goods, but there's shipping, there's insurance, there's warehousing, there's all these other costs. And it's difficult sometimes to manage all this money, to run this business and to run it at a profit. So, I mean, it's easy to go for me. It's easy to go out there and make the sale. Once you have the product manufactured, I have all my people in place. It now comes down to like marketing, and marketing is a difficult pillar of this business, and it's always changing. It's always transforming into something different. Facebook might change the algorithm, or change. AI is now changing the way you run ads on TikTok, on Instagram. So it's a constant battle staying ahead of that, to maintain that profitability and to hold on to that capital so you can reinvest it into the business.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think when people start businesses, it's like everywhere you turn, everything you need to do costs something, it seems. And a lot of times people will start a business, they have maybe a little bit of money, or they've got, let's say, 20 or $50,000, and feel like $50,000 is just a mountain of cash that you can never
Right.
spend. But
It's
it's
not.
amazing. It's amazing how fast you can burn through 50 or
Oh
a
my God.
hundred thousand
Yes,
dollars.
absolutely.
Okay, so how about any big wins along the way? Was there any one thing that you came across that was just a aha moment, or something that really helped take it
You
off, or
know,
was it just the grind, like you said?
I mean, I never had an event where I just like went super viral and I sold like 10,000 units in one day. That has not happened. I've had some very very good wins along the way. I remember early on in our journey, I was down in Philadelphia and I went on a popular local radio station there. It's called Preston and Steve on MMR, and they're a huge influence down there in Philly, especially with the Eagles fans. They had me on their program and I was on for like 15 minutes. That's unheard of. They love the story, they love the invention, they love me grinding out at the parking lot at Lincoln Financial. It just was a feel good story. And we got a ton of sales from that appearance. So that was an awesome win for us. We recently got a purchase order from Dick's Sporting Goods, which has now put us in 200 stores across the country, which is crazy. And I just found out last week that my episode for Shark Tank is going to air on October 1st. So that, to me, hopefully could be an inflection point for the business. And to me, regardless of what happens, if I got a deal, I didn't get a deal, I walked away from a deal. To me, being a student of the show for 15 years and finally getting on was a huge win for me personally. And hopefully we'll see if the business does well too.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you said, with dealing with cash and inventory on hand. You don't really know what that's going to produce, but you have to prepare somehow, right? You have to get more inventory than you normally would, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think we're well stocked. Put it this way, I hope I'm not well stocked and I sell out of everything that I have, which means, obviously I'm leaving some money on the table, but cash in the hand, right, is huge. And then the one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to go to my manufacturer and say, hey, listen, I need 10 containers of product. It's going to cost you all this money, and not knowing if I'm going to be able to sell those units. Because that's a big mistake I think a lot of entrepreneurs will make, is they buy way too much inventory thinking they're going to sell through no problem, and then they find themselves sitting on it and paying babysitting fees in the warehouse just eating away at their bottom line, because you got to put the games somewhere, and if you're not selling them, they're just taking up space and costing you money. So I think we are well stocked for this event, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it costs you money to purchase the inventory, and then if it sits, you're paying also to store it. So it's
100%.
it can be double what it actually costs to get the product.
Right.
Okay, well, Focal Software, as you know, is a technology company, so we always transition a little bit. As your company's growing, it gets more complex. So you've got inventory in 200 stores, you're on multiple marketplaces, you've got to keep track of things. That's getting complicated, more complicated as time goes on for a growing company. So how are you managing things from a inventory accuracy, orders, and a technology standpoint?
Sure. So we've obviously gotten big. Well, not obviously. I was shipping out of my house for the first 4 years of the business. And then that's when we started to really grow. And I expanded the operation to a 3PL, or a third party logistics company. They're the people that handle, and a big shout out to ShipDaddy. ShipDaddy is our 3PL. They've been the backbone of our business since probably about going on 5 years now. And with their software, I believe they use a software called ShipHero, and that's the software that they use to accept orders and then ship orders out to our customers. So for those listening, I have a Shopify platform, and I also sell on Amazon. So for those, when an order comes into our website, it goes to our Shopify platform, and those orders go directly to our 3PL. The 3PL then spits it out to the customer. For Amazon, we do FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, and we ship our inventory to their DCs. So if somebody on Amazon goes and buys it on Prime, Amazon has inventory in hand and then ships it out. So ShipDaddy and ShipHero, I lean on to monitor our inventory. So it's very accurate. I know what's coming in, what's going out, and I have some alerts on when I need to replenish and try to forecast where I'm buying just enough, maybe a little bit more than needed inventory in the future.
Yeah, and what you touched on there is very, very important when you talk about getting more complex, an omni-channel seller, multiple marketplaces,
Right.
business to business, business to consumer. It's automation, because
Yep.
that saves time, a lot of time, especially if
Right.
there's a lot of orders, because every order dealt with manually takes time.
Yep.
Okay, so speaking of e-commerce, you've got a Shopify website. You mentioned 3PL, Amazon, shipping. What do you see happening in the future technology-wise, or is there anything you're looking out for or preparing for in e-commerce? Because it is growing, and your business actually went through the COVID years, which was kind of a game changer. Well, it changed the whole world, but it really accelerated e-commerce. And right
Yes.
now, 1 out of every 4 purchases of anything anywhere in the world is online, and that's growing. So what are your thoughts on the future of e-commerce?
So, everybody talks about AI, right? I think artificial intelligence has a big play in everything, including e-com. And the two things that stick out to me is content creation, and also marketing, in the sense of locating that end user, that customer. I mentioned previously that Facebook is going through some changes with their platform, and they're instituting their own AI to make their ads more efficient, getting to that end customer. But there's growing pains in between. So I have a couple of media buyers on different platforms that are actually going through these changes right now, and sales have dipped a little bit because of that, because there's this learning phase that these ads are going to be going through, and there's probably learning phase for the media buyers as well on how to structure these ads, and to structure them in a way that are AI friendly, that AI will use and hopefully benefit from. So I think, from a technology standpoint, I believe that AI is going to have a huge influence on those two types of topics within e-commerce. Definitely the marketing, and also the content creation. And you can see some of these AI content that's being generated on like TikTok and Instagram. It's amazing the things that you can make with AI. I mean, it's just insane. Maybe at some point I can have virtually people playing my game on an island in Fiji, and it'll look real. But that could be an awesome ad for my game on the beach. And the cost of making that happen, would be a fraction of sending actors to Fiji and sending the product there. I mean, I think the cost cut is huge.
Yeah, AI is coming at us fast, and it does help quite a bit with the marketing, writing ad copy, different media, and then you also have to test it because, like you said, you don't know what's going to work, and Amazon's a good example too, where you have to test your ads, and then you learn from the algorithms and what they get, and then you fine tune it, and I think AI is going to play a role in that as well.
Right. Agreed.
Okay, let's transition to what I call the speed round here, which is I got 3 questions for you, and it's kind of from the standpoint of your take on how somebody would view like advice to somebody who's thinking of getting into business.
Sure.
So here's question number 1. What would your number 1 piece of advice be for anyone thinking of starting their own business?
I guess it would depend on what stage of life that they're in. If they're older and they have a family and that they're married, number 1 thing, get the buy-in from your significant other or your family members because it's not you that's only taking the risk. You're taking the risk for you and the entire family. So you really need to make sure, this is my opinion, to have everybody on board. Because if they're not, and it's just going to make it 10 times worse. Now, if you're fresh out of school or you're a high school student and you're young, go after it. Take as many swings at that plate as you possibly can and learn from every swing and miss that you get. When you get that hit, learn from it. If you hit a home run, learn from it and just copy and paste. But take the risk early on, and you have nothing but time to come back from that loss, because everybody's going to lose. Everybody's going to fail. You're going to fall down. If you got a breath in your lungs, you can make $1. You can figure it out and just put it back into the business or start a new one.
Yeah, and that's a great word to use, is risk, because a lot of people, when they're thinking of starting a business, they're the only thing in their mind is good
Money.
stuff. Money, easy money. Just it's all going to be easy, and you're going to be your own boss, right? You can make your own schedule, and you're not going to have somebody yelling at you or so on and so forth. But it's similar to investing, the way you put it. If you're investing in something, then your risk tolerance, if you're young and you don't have dependents, then you can afford to, you have years to recover. But if you're older with 3, 4 kids, then it's a different risk scenario.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Successful entrepreneurs often say you need to surround yourself with good people and need a little bit of luck. And sometimes they're one and the same, meaning it's tough to hire people. Sometimes you hire someone and you get lucky that maybe you didn't think they'd be a big contributor, but they turn out to be. Now, I know you run a pretty lean business, so I'm not sure how much hiring you've been doing, but talk about working with good people and luck.
Yes. Look, I think you create your own luck. And I think that's done through repetition. So the more you go out to these tailgates, the more you go out to show your product, the more opportunity you have to meet other people. There's more opportunity for people to see your product. So I think the more opportunities you throw out there, the better chance you're going to have at positive things or luck happening. Now, there is a degree in luck, but I've had great mentors that surrounded me, not only with advice, but also some for resources. And as far as hiring, I don't have any employees, but I hire other companies to do things like my 3PL, like my media buyers for Instagram, Facebook, Google Ads, and TikTok. To me, I mean, I don't see them as an employee, but you can technically, I guess, say they're a contractor. But I have to vet these individuals before I hire them to make sure that they're going to add to the bottom line and I'm going to get a return on my investment. Now, early on, one of the pitfalls I had was I hired a marketing company and they promised the moon. I didn't get off the ground. It cost me 20 grand, which was a significant amount of money in the beginning. It's still a significant amount of money. And it was like I flushed it down the toilet. And after that experience, I made sure that I would not make that same mistake again. Chalk it up to tuition, and my business degree is what I put that up to.
Yeah, hiring vendors is very much, from a practical standpoint, like hiring an employee.
Yes.
Okay, next question. If you had a magic wand to fix one thing that is holding you back or slowing you down, what would that one thing be?
Capital?
Money.
Yeah, I would say capital and marketing. So with capital and the efficiency of marketing, if I had more capital and my marketing was more efficient, that could change a ton of things for me. And that would provide, more capital in return, which I can then invest into the business even more so. I could get more inventory and I can expand our product line. I have ideas that I can expand the product line, outside of football. There's other sports that you could play with our game chair. And I'm just limited with capital right now to get to that point.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and the way I describe it, and by how people are saying exactly what you just said is, you can, with capital, with cash, you can speed things up, because a lot of people feel like, I want to do so much more. I want to implement this roadmap that's 8 months down the road. I want to move it forward, and you can't really do that without the cash to do it.
Right.
All right, well, that's it for the speed round. So as we wrap up, we've been talking about your product, and people probably listening are wondering what the heck is it? So why don't you tell us about QB54
Sure.
and where to find it and where to find you?
Absolutely. So if you love the outdoors, you don't have to love football, but if you love football, this game is right in your wheelhouse. But if you like to go outside and have fun, whether you're playing cornhole, can jam, or these other games, QB54 is right there. It is the only football game on the market. It's an entire game of football we built from 2 folding chairs. Each set comes with 2 chairs, 2 sets of goalposts, a football carrying bag, a ball pump with a steel needle, and a kicking tee. And it's super easy to play. You set a chair up at one end, a chair at the other. You throw the football. If you hit anything, you get 3 points for a completion. If you get it, the chair has a hole cut in the seat and a basketball net. So if you throw it into the basketball net, that is a touchdown for 6 points. And then you kick an extra point through the uprights that are attached to the top of the chair. And on defense, if you catch your opponent's rebound, it's an interception for 3. There's no tackling. There's no concussions. It's just fun. You don't have to be a QB1. You could be an armchair quarterback. You don't have to be any kind of quarterback to love this game. And the best part is when you're done playing the game, you could use it as 2 comfortable chairs. So now you're getting 2 products for the price of 1. And you can get our game on our website at playqb54.com. You can get it on our Amazon site, or you can get it in one of the 200 Dick's Sporting Goods stores that we are in across the country. It's a perfect game, a perfect product for your upcoming Christmas and also for this football season.
I think you described the game perfectly so people can visualize it. And I did, I went on your website and watched it too. And then once you see one of your videos, you get it immediately. Like, oh, okay, I get this. One question, can you, is it a set distance for the chairs, or can you move them out as far as you want to make it more difficult?
So people love set rules. So we had to come up with a set distance of 40 feet. But what I tell people is this: you can make them closer, further apart based on skill level. It's all about having fun. So we say 40 feet, but you can make it 20 feet if you want. You can make it 80 feet if you want. It's up to the person that's using the game themselves. And the goal of us making this game was to bring people closer together, have fun, bond with each other, and create family memories that will last a lifetime. And if you're a person in the audience that is interested in this set, support the small guy, support the American dream, and get to our site, grab a set. I guarantee you will love this game.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up today's podcast. Mike, thanks so much for sharing your experience with our listeners. And thanks to everyone listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Focal Insights Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted of new episodes. See you next time.